Hey everybody! So this video is a video response to both Wargamer Viking as well as the topic of the week on Vince Venturella's channel. So this is called the I Am the Wargamer response, or I Am A Wargamer response. What this is essentially in August 2016, the Wargamer Viking started this, where there's a series of 5 questions, standard questions to answer, and then you tag 3 channels as well to challenge them to answer the same questions. Now, I think this is really good. It's something really to kind of connect the community together more, because likely you'll see lots of channels that, if you follow this, that you've never seen before, and it may even span different genres within wargaming, because one of the things I notice is that having a lot of varied interests myself, I notice that we do have some different pockets, like within our greater community, and that may include like more on the sci-fi and the fantasy side, the fictional, or it may be the more historical side, and then many others related to that. So I think this is really good. I'd like to thank Victor Kess, because on his channel he's tagged me, and so now Heresy Productions has been sucked into the vortex of all of these channels that are kind of being pulled into this kind of thing, which is kind of cool. So, without further ado, I'll put the channels that I'm tagging on at the end, the 3 channels, and I'll just answer the 5 questions. So the first question is, what inspired you to do YouTube? Well, it's funny, I did do a little channel prior to this that related to the HeroClix game before I was doing the modeling and the painting and the wargaming tabletop that I do today. I no longer do the HeroClix kind of game anymore. I was doing that with my kids, but I was researching YouTube just to find out about like unboxings, new products, and things like that. Just I guess enjoying that just in the same way that I do this in some ways. But because I learned about YouTube through that, I wanted to improve my painting, and so I started watching a lot of YouTube channels for wargaming. And because I'd put up videos, a few videos, not many, but I'd put some up, I just thought it'd be neat just to get involved and put up my work in progress, like as I was just starting to paint again. Really, mainly for the first time, but I painted maybe 20 years prior, but really didn't know what I was doing, and I wanted to learn how to paint better, and so that's kind of how it started. And it just kind of went from there. It was more just hobby progress reports, which to a large degree is what my channel is now, but as well, I put up the occasional battle report, just thoughts on wargaming and just various other things too, in addition to that these days. Yeah, so that's why I did YouTube to begin with. Where do you want your channel to go? Well, I don't have any grand plans for the channel, in the sense that I'd like it to just continue as it has. I want it to be a place to connect with like-minded people from around the world and locally. I've had both of that, in the sense that I've actually met people or connected with people that were even in my local area due to my channel, but then even more so, I meet people just from all over the world. And to a degree, I don't want to get off topic on this, and sorry, I'm just going to continue to pull up the questions here so I don't forget the ones that I've got to answer. To a degree, the thing that I think I like about YouTube is it connects a lot of like-minded people. Like, you see people's channels that you might even like to hang out with and wargame with, but they happen to be on the other side of the world, and it provides a medium for you to connect with folks that you get along with and that sort of are into the same stuff you are. And now that's just one thing on the social aspect. Of course, there's all the aspect of learning too, and just seeing great painters and just entertainment for battle reports and lots of other things. But on the social side, for me, that's a big part of it for me, is just connecting with like-minded folks. Folks that I might not actually run into even if I was to go into a game store. I might not run into that person, because either far away, or they're not comfortable just talking to strangers, whereas this sort of opens up an ability to do that. And so yeah, so I really like it to continue as is. I'm not really, I'm not like looking for subscribers per se at this point. I just want to enjoy chilling out with people through YouTube. Where can you see it in 5 years' time? Probably, you know, I have a fairly modest amount of subscribers. I'm just pushing 1,000, but I've been doing this since 2012, so it's actually taken a really long time to get to that 1,000. But you know, honestly, it doesn't really bother me that much. Not really trying to gain subscribers fast or anything like that. Really, I just want to have a good time with the channel, and in 5 years, I guess what I would say is I'd like to see a bit. I'm interested in the video production part, not really for a career or anything, but just for fun. Like, I enjoy trying to make decent quality videos, and I'd like to see my videos improve and continually improve. And so in 5 years' time, I'd like to see more like battle reports that are perhaps of a better quality, like continue to improve on those. Yeah, and then I'd like to see my painting continue to improve, and so I'd like to see better painting on my channel, you know, just through practice and seeing other people and what they're doing and learning. And, you know, I guess I'd like to collaborate more. I do some of the things like this or the contests throughout the year, and I'm not big on those. I have a couple that I've picked out that I like to participate in. But I wouldn't mind doing more collaboration with other like-minded individuals / channels in the future, in some form. And so I guess if I had to pick something in 5 years, it'd be that. Sorry, my iPad just loves to keep just going to energy saver or whatever it is. Any advice for setting up a YouTube channel? It's funny because I've seen a lot of people's responses to this, and so many good responses on advice. You know, everything from it's just really easy to do and just jump in and see whether you like it and things like that, and it's all true. I don't think you have to overthink it, but what I would say is really ask yourself when you start it why you're doing it. You know, there's really no one reason, and you don't like have to have a big reason, but if you're going to enjoy it and if you really want to spend some time doing this, like if in your mind you're thinking you want to start it to actually put up regular videos, ask yourself why. Is it for the social reason? Is it because you know, you want to teach, like you're a master painter, or are you a master sort of already? Like, because lots of people that don't put up any videos are just have lots of experience in the hobby, and then they come in and they have no subscribers, but they have lots to offer. Maybe you're really into the tactics and a bit of a rule master, you know, in the sense of that, and you like to just have videos just on tactical discussions or battle reports. You really want to ask yourself, what is the reason for doing it? And if it's just for a social thing and just to show, like I mentioned, your work as you're going along on a painting perspective, that's excellent. But if you're going to enter the venture, maybe just sort of think about it, and then after you've had the channel for a bit, reevaluate like what you want to get out of it, what you're enjoying out of it, in order to determine what, you know, whether you're going to keep doing it, and then also whether you sort of, I guess, crystallize why you enjoy the experience. Yeah, I think that's probably all I would do, is just because a lot of people do this in the wargaming industry, or hobby I should say, for a lot of different reasons. And I've seen some folks come in and they do a bunch of things like big contests and giveaways and like trying to get lots of subscribers very quick, and then maybe if it didn't go to their satisfaction, they just stop and they just kind of completely leave it. I'd really warn people of that, because maybe if you're just new to it, you don't realize that our hobby on YouTube is extremely small, and there are only a handful of people that make a significant amount of money that they either put towards their hobby or towards a livelihood through this. It's extremely hard to do that. Not to say you shouldn't do it or you can't, but unless you really know what you're doing and you really want to do it for that purpose, then don't get disappointed if that doesn't happen. Like, I'm just, you know, kind of warn people of that. Otherwise, you know, just kind of just ask yourself why you want to do it and just have fun with it. So, okay. And then the next question is, what would you, and next and last question, what would you add to improve YouTube for the community? This is a really difficult one because to think of how to, because I watched Wargamer Viking's an intro video, and my understanding is this isn't how would you improve your channel for the whole community, but this is how would you improve YouTube for the community, is the way he had answered the question, or for our community. And there have been a lot of good suggestions on this, and this has already been brought up, but I'm going to elaborate on it because I would also agree. And I think for our community, I think the live streaming has a lot of potential, and a lot of people are doing it. My understanding is it's particularly a bit finicky for folks that are just starting. A lot of people have trouble with it. I've not ventured into that area yet, but particularly since I'm into the social aspect and connecting with folks around the world, in my hobby for this, I see live streaming as potentially a way to have games with folks around the world in our hobby. And given that we're a small niche of people, it'd be great if we can actually further, connect in the future to actually enjoy our hobby together at a distance, even though it's very much traditionally you and your opponent across the table. Unlike video games where you can just sort of jump in and play with folks around the world already, it'd be great if we could start to do that a bit more. And so how would that happen? In my mind, I would think that the live streaming needs to continue to improve, not only for it to be easier for folks to access it and do it well, but I could envision, a live streaming experience where it's easy to have multiple shots of like a gaming table, not through your doing, because you're doing some sort of uploading or editing, on the go or something to make that happen, but that you could have multi-camera going in, and that may be available to a certain degree now. I never see people do it to any significant degree, so what that tells me is even if it is available, it's not the easiest. And so that's what I'd like to see. Like, I'd like to be able to say to somebody in some other area in the world, like, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. I know it's like 12 midnight where you are, or 8 o'clock in the evening, but let's like do a game, and like we'll schedule it in advance, and we'll set up a couple of cameras on one side, and we'll have another camera on each other, and we'll socialize and play the game, and it'll just be a lot of fun. It'd still probably be a little bit of work. It's definitely going to be more work than playing a game at your local club, but I think the easier that becomes, and the more that YouTube can facilitate that to make it easy, that would really be good for our community, in my opinion, because our community encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses the painting, tournaments, like the actual wargaming itself. But one of the things that I think is pretty defined about the wargaming community is the wargame itself. And so if we can actually do the wargaming through YouTube and play against each other easily, that would be the best improvement that I can think of. So now it's time to tag channels. So I'm going to put a link down below for each one of them, and then also the other tag channels that have been listed so far on the topic of the week. And so the first one that I would like to list is Pancakepayney, or otherwise we just call him Pancake. I think I'd like to hear his answers to these questions. Pancake does a lot of Napoleonics, and black powder, and I kind of got introduced to his channel through the historical side, but what I've realized over time is that he's into like a lot of stuff. I won't say everything, but he's into right now he's really into the Warhammer 30K, like the Horus Heresy stuff, but I've seen him do other stuff. I've seen him paint up like board game minis that are really cool that I never heard of, that were more of a fantasy side. I've seen him painting up samurai, World War II, Napoleonics. He really does contribute a lot to the community through videos, and also on my understanding is he actually is kind of doing a club in his local area too, a gaming club, so I think he's very involved. So I'd like to see Pancake's sort of response to this stuff. The next one I'd like to see is SolventAbuseUK. He actually does a lot of different stuff as well. I've seen him doing everything from a fistful of kung fu, so sort of like a pulp kind of genre to World War II stuff. He does a lot of modeling and the Mac modeling, which is, I think, the way I got introduced to his channel. And he's really, really good at making terrain. I've seen him do terrain boards and excellent buildings and dioramas, as well as he's doing some sculpting too, which I'm really impressed with, like practicing sculpting like I am, although he's doing amazing on his stuff. And so definitely would like to see his responses to the questions. Last one I'd like to do would be Ralph Astley. Ralph is primarily a historical gamer, and on his channel he actually does both wargaming and primarily historical, as well as he puts up really cool videos just on sort of things that have like maybe a tie to historical context. So it could be actual real life submarines, or a walk through a historical area, something like that. He has a lot of cool other content too, and he brings a lot of experience. Like I believe he's been doing wargaming for quite a long time, and so it's really great to hear Ralph's opinions on stuff. So those are my 3 tag channels, and thanks very much for watching, and thanks to the Wargamer Viking, Vince Venturella, and Victor Kez for my involvement in this. Take care.